Hi, and welcome to Pursuit of Tomorrow. Howard Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Now, in the spirit of that, I've decided to invite anyone and everyone onto this platform here to help discuss the idea and how we can actively pursue tomorrow as opposed to just kind of passively receiving it. Now, before we get started, I just want to say any support to the channel would mean so much to me. So like, comment and subscribe, and without any more to say, let's get right into the episode. So, Zhu, welcome, and obviously, thank you for being part of this. Actually my first guest I'm interviewing, so
Come on.
Honour is mine. Trust me, I know this is going to be a good one. So, before we get into the pursuit of tomorrow, obviously going to take a quick introspective look into yesterday. So I'll ask you to bring 2 or 3 props or prompts, anything, artifacts that bring about positive memories for you. So what did you bring along?
Okay, so with regards to myself, I'm a very expressive person, and with expression, I think 2 of my main expressions are martial arts and music.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been training in the martial arts for 28 years, and about 10 years ago I decided that I wanted to be a better teacher than a fighter, which meant that I wanted to help people as opposed to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, when we all had a lot of free time, I wrote this. This is
wow, okay.
my book. So
Let's
it's
have a look.
got a lot of my own personal philosophies, code of conduct, as well as training methodologies, mindset, and that's for martial artists who want to start, who want to get into it, or those who are already trained. And these are things that they can complement what they already do. So that's something. This is a reminder for me that 28 years of training, all mashed into one, things I've learned over the years and things that I want to pass on to the next person. So that's something that gives me a lot of positive memories. But the next one would be, with my music. I recorded a piano album. Okay,
Nice.
Actually had this printed off just for today.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so I've been playing piano, violin and viola for maybe 26, 27 years, and with that it's another form of expression.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken me 11 years to get this album done.
Wow.
11 years, and it's like a musical diary, like a diary without words. So every time I listen to each tune, every time I play it, I know what I felt at the time, I know what I was thinking at the time, who was involved, as well as, most importantly, the lessons that I learned.
That's really nice.
When I look at this is 11 years of history for me.
Wow.
And I think there are a lot of things that when I look at this, I feel positive because I got through it.
Nice.
And
So it's called what, sorry?
Ether Reality.
Ether Reality. So Ether Reality and the martial heart.
Do you see what I did there?
I like this. That's very clever.
Hmm.
So how, the name alone,
Yes.
how do you come up with the martial heart?
Back in 2008, I actually did a piece for the BBC, and they called it the martial heart. Because I spoke more about the philosophical aspects of it, and I thought actually no one's used that since, and if you look up the martial heart, it's still got my name on it, so I thought I'm going to write a book with that name.
Nice.
So that stuck, and I'm very happy with the play of words, but I can't take full credit for it.
I did the exact same thing to you a couple of years ago with the Faculty of Attention.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so
that's doing very well, I must say.
yeah, so for those who don't know, I've worked with you before, and we created an awareness video called the Faculty of Attention. Now, for my purposes, as I said, it was an awareness video trying to keep people safe at night when travelling around. But for you, where did the Faculty of Attention start? That's another one of your philosophical concepts that I'm just in love with.
Which is actually, I think I wrote a chapter on awareness in that. Nice. So it's all about attention, awareness, and being conscious of your everyday surroundings, which is so important because that can help you avoid confrontations, any problems, as well as walking into a lamppost.
Yeah, of course.
So being safe, and being safe starts with you, just keeping your eyes about you. So that's something that I always wanted to put in. So when I wrote the article and when we worked together on that video, it's something I was very passionate about. And I think nowadays it's even more relevant to have to put that video out there. And I think what we did a couple of years ago, it's fantastic to be able to put that out there now as well, especially in terms of personal safety. I do have another artifact.
Bring them on.
So another expression that I have is my media work. My work with film, TV, and I made a little collage of some newspaper clippings.
Nice.
So they're just a few highlights.
Walk me through.
So this is front page of when I was on Take Me Out.
Okay, yeah.
I did it twice. And then I did a piece for a graphic novel where I was a lead in a graphic novel called War Dogs. And of course I got my photo here with Dwayne Johnson, Rock Johnson, and that's from Hobbs and Shaw. So this is just a little reminder for me to say, you're doing okay.
Yeah. No, I remember seeing Hobbs and Shaw in the cinema. As soon as I saw your face, I was like, I know
that's
me. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about your film before we continue. So
yeah.
You did a BBC production recently.
I did, yes. It's called The Wonton Warrior, so it's for CBBC, and it's a very sweet story. Though the wonderful thing about that was there was a very, very strong message about anti-bullying, and a lot of the kids who watched it, the parents did tell me, and they said the kids really picked up on the anti-bullying aspect. I thought, my goodness, I mean, that's exactly why we did it. And I think with film work, I've also done the Hobbs and Shaw, The Gentleman, Doctor Strange. I'm also in the newest Marvel film called The Eternals, which is coming out on November 5th. I can't say too much more because I'm still under contract.
Yeah, of course. So I don't want to get you in trouble.
But so I was one of the stunt doubles for one of the lead actors. Nice. So you won't see me, you'll see me get slammed, but hey, that's okay.
I'll know it's you.
Yes.
I'll know it's you. But there's every chance that this will be on your album, but I also say think of a song that could have been a film that has some personal meaning to you.
So, so I'm going to go with a show, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So, something that has personal meaning to me is Star Trek. Love Star Trek. I've been watching it since I was a child, and even as an adult now, I still rewatch the old episodes. In fact, before I came here, I was watching it. And just because it's so optimistic, humanistic, but also it tackles such difficult subjects like racial discrimination, gender, politics, as well as religion, and how all those things combine. So I look at Star Trek as an adult now. I think as a kid you watch it, for the ships flying around, firing at each other. But then as you get older, it's like you watch it for solutions to modern problems, and that's incredible. And I think the storytelling is second to none. And I watch all that, and it's a reminder for me for any moral or ethical dilemma I may ever have. And Star Trek, I feel, really does have the answer for that.
Nice. So, which was your favourite series?
Right. Okay. I'm going to be very careful here, but it has to be Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine. Okay.
Yeah. Just because I think it deals with more of the politics. More of the racial discriminations. You had a planet where there was another race of people who occupied that planet for 50 years, and since they left, it's rebuilding that civilization and everything, and then bridging gaps between different worlds. Now, okay, if we take it to a more grounded level, it's not just about worlds; it's about countries. You know what I mean? So you can extrapolate the meaning behind that, and apply it to what's going on in today's world.
Yeah.
And for me, that is so current, so relevant.
Yeah.
So even though it's set in the 24th century, doesn't matter. The principles apply to today.
Nice. Cool. So, you actually briefly spoke about how you could watch Star Trek as a child and now as an adult.
Yes.
To open that up, if you could offer yourself some advice, a 12-year-old version of yourself, what would that be?
I'm so glad you asked, because I keep a list of
Oh, wow,
things.
okay.
Let me grab the list.
Grab that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right here in my wallet.
Brilliant.
So I came prepared for this. Yeah. But no, I keep this in my wallet. So if I could speak to my 12-year-old self, it would be, start meditating now. It'll save you from all kinds of trouble.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're more or less going to be okay. You're such a goof, and that will never change. When your parents force you to play piano, it's for your sake and not theirs. The lottery numbers each week are. You can bleep that out. Convince the executives at Yahoo that Microsoft's offer in 2008 will be the best they ever get.
Oh, I like
And
it.
make sure you get a cut from it as well. Yeah, and lastly, finally, dodge the energy discharge from the warp core. We're gonna get a second chance.
Oh, that's why I love talking to you. I like the versatility is always there.
Thank you.
Right. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit deeper.
Okay.
What would you say inspires you to be better?
I think I'm a student for life. In fact, my name, Jon Xue Zhang, the Xue element, that word means to learn. So the more I learn, the more I realize there is to learn. And I have a thirst for knowledge and a hunger for experience. And
Nice.
I feel that because I know I'll never learn it all, I know that, well, it gives me freedom to learn as much as I can and as much as I want to. And that makes me, that inspires me. I think when you've got, when you have that, it's like, it keeps you humble as well. And everyone out there is your teacher. Everyone else out there can teach you something. And I'd say, the past has taught me everything that I know in the present. The present, everything I do in the present determines what happens in the future. And the future, and here's the thing with my future, I tend to live in the end result. So my mind and my vision are of the future. My physical body just needs the requisite time to reach that point and to realize that future, to realize that vision and make it happen. So, and another thing is something that really hits me is the kindness of others. The kindness of others and the progress of others, and everyone doing well, working together. That truly inspires me. I love that.
Cool. So to dive into that just a little bit deeper
Yeah.
as well, do you see that same expression within martial arts?
Yes, I do now. I didn't when I was younger. When you're younger, it's all about fighting. It's all about who can beat who. Can I beat this person? If not, why? If I can, great. But now it's all about helping as opposed to hurting. So as a teacher, for instance, I would be able to reach a lot more people and actually help nurture them where they are now, how far I can take them, and and I think as a fighter, if you're just a cold warrior, it's all about doing damage to that person. Now, I will say with the martial arts, there is an element of that. If you do need to fight with self-defense, for instance, you absolutely need to know the lethal stuff and tell yourself that you've got to do this because of these reasons. However, I have de-escalated a lot of situations previously just with words and my overall demeanor, and I never had to use my hands. Of course, when I was even younger, I resolved those issues with my hands, which gives you issues, and I think with the martial arts community now, it is becoming more open, more transparent. Of course, you will get the idiots on YouTube, and but that's okay, because I think at the end of the day, we're all coming together. There are a lot of fantastic and talented martial arts instructors out there, so there's something to be learned from everyone. And when I look at different martial arts instructors, of course, the first thing people say is, "Could you take him? Could you take him?"
Yeah,
And
of course,
to be honest, I don't care. You're my friend, and if there's something to learn, then I'll learn it. It's like I collaborate with Master Wong, who you all might know because he has a following of almost 3 million on YouTube.
Yeah.
So Master Wong and I are great friends. Now, a lot of people always say, "Who would win in a fight?" And I'm like, actually, one, I don't care. Two, we're of different generations. I think he's in a generation above mine, and we are. I never want to disrespect those whose shoulders I stand on. It's like when you see, who would win in a fight, such and such or Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, okay, we'll never know. That's the thing. We would never ever know. So it's like, Bruce Lee paved the way for a lot of people. So it's like the last thing I'd ever want to do is make that comparison, because one, we'll never know, and two, I probably wouldn't. Martial arts would not be as much of a thing were it not for him. So we always have to be careful whose shoulders we're standing on. And I think with Master Wong, what I'm doing with him is we're collaborating. So it's two minds are better than one. And whilst we may have differences in opinion of here and there, it's the common ground which I'm interested in the most. And the respect that we have for each other, which is why we can collaborate. And I think in the martial arts community, that's so much more important nowadays than I go to your class just to challenge you.
Yeah.
Your kung fu is inferior to mine. Prepare to die. You see what I mean? So I think with martial arts now, there's less of that. There's less of these. I would even call them juvenile challenges. And I think it's a lot more open. A lot of people are a lot more conducive to helping each other develop. And I'm so grateful for that.
Cool. So we're going to start moving into how you pursue tomorrow. So there's the Howard Thurman quote: "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Firstly, I just want to ask what you think of that quote.
There are many layers to that quote.
I agree.
No, I love it. I love it. It's. I mean, we need to define what coming alive is. You know what I mean? It's like, and for everyone that will be different. I think for me personally, what makes me come alive is just being present. Just being present. And it's so I meditate an awful lot just so I can stay present and be aware of the seconds that go by and conscious of everything around me, and as best I can anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Though I would say, that way I'm not a slave to my own thoughts, where I lose myself in a sea of thoughts. Because we think it's about 50,000 thoughts a day.
Wow.
Yeah, I never want to get caught up in that, because thinking is in the past, it's happened already. And I think when, as we get older, we start to go on autopilot a lot more. So when we're young, we experience time very differently because everything's new. So as we get older, we go on autopilot and everything, and it has its purposes, but you don't want to go on autopilot when you're driving, for instance. You need to be very present. So for me, being present is paramount, and for me that's the basis, that's the start. That's the very start of being, just being. And I think after that we can build on that. So it's like other things that make me come alive is actually seeing my own accomplishments come into fruition, seeing progress, small progress each day that can grow into bigger things with consistent effort. That's something as well. And of course, I'm passionate about other people and their progress as well. That makes me, I'm very passionate about seeing other people achieve. And when I see someone, you know, whether they've just, I've taught them a move and they've, you know, it's just clicked in their mind and now they can do it. I'm like, or it's like I see someone who, you know, just got their diploma or something and they've got the certificate, or you know, it's that sense of achievement, you know, and because I understand that, I look at that and I think, oh, you know, hey, you know, I see great things ahead, you know, and I think that's amazing. And when you're happy, you know, when you're feeling positive, that's when you can see things more optimistically, you know. And for me, that's. I know there are some people who might put a more pessimistic spin on that, you know. But I think, you know, I never want to be a slave to my own current situation, the status quo, because things can always change. Things can always change. So if something negative is happening, for me, it's like, okay, cool. This is just temporary. What lessons am I learning from here? It's not comfortable, but you know, we grow when we're not comfortable. You know, so I think it's very important that we find what we are passionate with as well, and learn the lessons, and then take it from there. And I feel with that is how we grow as people, and that keeps me very, very passionate and alive.
That's cool. So when you speak about literally meditating to remain present,
yes,
but then also at the same time living for the future and being in the future and waiting for your present to catch up to that version of yourself, you know, how do you strike? Yeah, how do you marry those?
So my future self, who I am becoming, these are things that I visualize. I visualize that. Now, okay, imagine, so I'm imagining who I want to be and all the attributes that I will have when I am that person in the future, or the skills that I'll have. You know, if I'm already designing that person in the future, I'm just adopting those attributes in the present.
Nice.
So I'm already living there. So I'm living in the end result. So, you know, if the future John is a kind and caring individual who is generous in nature and whatever, you know what, I'm bringing that forward. That's who I am now. That's what I'm going to be now. And over time, that becomes natural. And then the future me, with all these amazing surroundings and accomplishments, okay, it always starts with that person. So I'm bringing that person from the future to the present. So it just takes the rest of my surroundings and my physical body to reach where I want to be. So it's like, you know, it is a fine line, but you can marry those things together. So your past, present, future, it's all happening at the same time. The past has taught you everything that you know today. The present is, everything you do in the present directly affects everything in the future. I'm living in the end result. I'm bringing that future me back to the present now, and and from that, all those accomplishments and all those things, all those wonderful surroundings in my future self will come because I am my future self right now in the present.
So, in theory, you know, because you know, you've obviously spent so much time building this worldview and this personal view of how you coordinate the world. But if you were to pass on this knowledge, if you were to try and help someone else who couldn't escape their present because they can barely escape their past, say, how would you teach them to visualize that future self and then become that future self in the present?
Right. So one thing that I would say is write everything that you are now. Okay. Write everything you want to be. So everything you are now is all the experiences that you're currently having. You know, you're working a dead-end job, you're doing this and that, you're feeling depressed and everything. What about your future self? These are the experiences I'd like to have. This is who I am now. This is who I'm going to be. You know, this is a nice work environment. I've got nice people I work with, and you know, the future me will also be very calm and be able to handle himself under pressure, whatever. So now you have two lists, okay? Yeah, now you have to adjust those lists accordingly, and slowly make those changes. You know, you can't simply adapt it on day one. Sometimes you can, but if you're going through hardships now, it's actually very difficult to, sometimes it can be very difficult to actually just, this is the new me, that's it.
Yeah.
You make those changes gradually. And I think once you make those changes gradually, it makes it a lot more manageable, for one. But also, when you can go there in the mind, you can absolutely go there in the body. So it's like if I ever described eating a lemon, okay, and we don't have, even need to have a lemon here, but you know, imagine biting into that lemon and the juice is coming out, and my eyes are watering up right now. Just thinking of it. So you know, that very thought is, whilst it's so holographic, it's so real. You know, like I'm actually, you know, getting vacuum just thinking of it. So, you know, our imagination, for instance, is so powerful. You know, if we can think that, just eating a lemon can induce a physical response just from a thought. Imagine what our other thoughts are doing. So I'll always say, if we're thinking 50,000 thoughts, and I believe the statistic is 70% of that is negative. That's 35,000 thoughts. That's a lot of thoughts, negative thoughts. Now, if I give you £50,000 a day, okay, to spend every day, and every day that resets. Now, let's say, and you spend £35,000 every day on things that make you unhappy. I think you're crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I spent £35,000 a day on stuff that makes me unhappy, then you think me crazy too. So instead, I'll spend all that money on things that make me happy, things that make other people happy. I do the same thing with my thoughts. I try to be as conscious of my thoughts as possible, and I try to spend them as wisely as I possibly can, like I would with money. You know, so that way I'm not wasting any money. And I'm spending that money on things that keep me positive, you know, and that's something that I would help someone to adjust with their mindset as well, so that they can make that transition between who they are now and who they want to be a lot more easier. Because of course, nobody now wants to say the future me will still be riddled with anxiety and negative thoughts. The future. People tend to want to improve. People tend to want to say, look, you know, I want to be, you know, level-headed and you know, calm and everything. These are all things that people will, deep down on some level, aspire to want to have. And that's what I would always say to people, you know, be conscious, be present. And that is something that, something I learned, where I'm not wasting any time. And I'm not wasting any thoughts on things that may not matter. You know, it's just like, if I'm having issues at work, for instance, and of course I would have had this previously, where there was a colleague, for instance, I may not get on with. They want to do it this way, I want to do it this way. You know what? This is not the hill you want to die on. You know, if you can still go home at the end of the day, okay, if you can let go, sometimes holding on is more painful than letting go. So it's like, and you can do that as simply as decluttering your house. It's like, oof, you know, you got all this stuff here, you know, and it's like, I was doing that the other day. I was decluttering the entire house. I say the other day, it took a few days to do it. So I looked at this, I thought, okay, I haven't used this in a year. Do I need this? Okay, why am I still holding on to this? Otherwise, it just sits here. And, you know, if I want to move this wardrobe in which I put this object in, it's just going to be very heavy. So I want to lighten the load. If I ever want to move house, it's going to be easy for me to move. And I do the same thing with my mind. If it's not important anymore, okay, and if there's no long-term benefit to it, I'll let it go. You know, and learning to let go is very, very important. And otherwise, it's like, when we hold on for so long, sometimes it is ego. Sometimes holding on is ego. It's like, I need to prove a point. I need to do this. I need to, and I think, Okay, to what end? You want to prove a point, I understand that, but to what end? Where do you want, is this going to give you financial, is this going to be good for you financially? Is this going to be good for you mentally? Is this going to be good for your relationships and everything? And I think these are all things we need to consider, and it always starts with us, and I think if you can handle yourself, you will always have an impact over the outcome of the situation. But that's also, it's also about the relationships you have. It's like, I can only donate money if I have money.
Yeah.
I can only give you myself if I first have myself. So I'd say to everyone, first, put yourself first. It's not selfish to do that, ever. It's never selfish to do that. So when you put yourself first, then you are in a position to help other people. Help yourself first. And if you can help yourself, you will be in a better position to advise others, But you are your own doctor, you are your own medic, you are your own nurse, you're your only dietitian, because you've got to do all those things yourself, Some people may advise you, but you've got to put yourself through that. And I think, we all have to go through the same things in life. Might as well be positive about it. If we have to go through it, we might as well be positive about it.
Yeah. Okay, so what does your day, week, month look like when you're actually in pursuit of this now?
So, I will always start the day with meditation. I never want to. I never want to start the day with baggage from yesterday. I always resolve it. In the evening, I'll think about everything I did from when I got out of bed to when I got back into bed. So that way, when I start the new day, it's fresh. And even in the evening, what I might do is check my calendar for tomorrow to see what I need to do tomorrow, things that I need to prepare for. So when I go to sleep, it's already in there. It's already there processing.
Already marinating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. And when I wake up, as soon as my alarm goes off, my eyes open and my feet hit the floor and I get up, I'm ready to go. I already know what I need to do. And it's, so I'll meditate first. And then what I'll do is I'll visualize as well. I visualize where I want to be, and it's like, I always meditate first, so I'm nice and clear, I'm nice and clear-headed, and that way I can focus my energy, my attention on things that matter. But when I visualize, it's all about, it's also seeing what I've currently achieved, all the small results I'm seeing now, and I'm like, okay, I can see this growing. It's like watering the plant. It's like I can see this growing. I need to give it consistent effort, and with consistent effort, the results will be small, but over time they'll be great. And I think that is something that I think is exceptionally important. So I'll meditate, I'll visualize, but I'll also actually go out and do it. You have to go out and do it, and make small progresses every day. It's like, you might dream of, having a physique, for instance. But unless you go to the gym and put in the work, you won't get it. So thinking is one thing, to prepare yourself for the physical work. So it's like putting petrol in a car. And then getting in the car and actually going somewhere. Yeah. So every day is a bit different, but in principle, that's what I do. And that way, that keeps me focused. It keeps my eye on the ball. But whilst my eye is on the ball, I also keep my eyes about me just to see what the other opportunities might be. So, for instance, with film, I did a film called 47 Ronin about 10 or 11 years ago, and after that I actually got a day job, a 9 to 5, but I still dabbled in film here and there, but then I did deviate from just doing the film stuff, because there was so much more I wanted to do, and there was so much stuff I wanted to do. It's like I wanted to pursue academia, I wanted to pursue, I wanted to study more, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. So whilst the end goal was always to do film, boy did I take a detour, but I don't regret it, because not only did I have the accomplishments from those other endeavors, but all the people that I managed to meet and cultivated relationships with, and people who I still keep in touch with. And if I just kept my eye solely on the ball and nothing else, I wouldn't have met any of those people. And it's those people who continue to support me. You've got friends and family who continue to support me, and you know, I can't imagine not knowing them. And so when you keep your eye on the ball, I think it's so important that you also keep your eyes about you, just to see what the other opportunities are there. You know, if you keep your head down too long, boy, do you miss out on other stuff. You might get to the destination, this is everything I ever wanted, but then you're like, it's kind of lonely up here. So, you know, I'm always open to as many, you know, avenues as possible, and the end goal is just to be happy, just to be fulfilled, and in whatever form that might take, I'll accept it. You know.
Yeah, because it's interesting. You speak about autopilot.
Yes.
And then also, you know, noticing opportunities along the way. So I know for a lot of people, when they're pursuing something, it's always the most difficult at the very beginning, because no matter what steps you need to take and how many of them there are, you're at the beginning. And so, you know, it's like, how do you kind of navigate making sure you're opening up your eyes to opportunities left and right of you as you're pursuing on forward as well?
So there is a quote that goes, well, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. You know,
okay, nice.
And it's like if you know, if you are walking a path at night time, for instance, you're walking and it's not particularly well lit. You know that your 2 feet will take you to your destination eventually. You're walking home. Okay, let's say, you know, you're walking down and this road and it's dark. Okay, you know that you can only maybe see a few meters ahead of you, but you know that you'll get there. Okay, but and I think it's important that we are just sometimes, okay, instead of leading with our heart, okay, and leading with our head, we sit back and just see it. You know, there is no rush. There is absolutely no rush. If we live to, say, if we're lucky enough to live to, say, 90 or 100, then it's like, okay, then we have, you know, I'm not even a fraction of the way there. You know what I mean? Neither of us are. We're not really a fraction of the way there, so we have plenty of time, you know, to explore all the things that we want to do. And I think it's just taking our time. And when we take our time, we have to be conscious of the time that we are taking. And when we are conscious of the time that we're taking, we won't waste any of it. We won't waste any of it. So I would always say to anyone that we have to, you know what you want, for one, okay, but don't be afraid to try other things. Because other things might end up benefiting the stuff that you eventually want to do. So if you want to be an actor, for instance, all you want to do is act, you know, but then, hey, you might find another hobby that you enjoy, like, I don't know, dance or something, and hey, you might find yourself in a role where you need to dance. You got that training already, you know what I mean? It's like, so I'd also say take an interest in anything. You know, it's like, and if you don't have an interest in it, have a knowledge base about it anyway. You know, just because there is, and I'm guilty of this, you know, our phones have access to, you know, the history of the world and everything. And yet I look at cat photos. I'm not afraid to admit that. But it's, could I make use of my time better? Absolutely, we all could. But I think, we have to make sure that we are conscious of the time that we take, and that we don't waste it so much, much like our thoughts.
So there's this transferable currency that you deal with.
Yes. It is all transferable, and I think it's important that when you go to bed at night, you don't sleep with the baggage that you had during the day. You want to resolve that before you go to bed. Otherwise, you wake up still feeling it. You know, it's and I think if you when you get out of bed and all the things you did to when you got back into bed, review all those things. It takes about 10 minutes,
Yeah, wow.
and then you finish processing it. Then you can dream about other stuff, that stuff that didn't happen during the day, because when we dream, we tend to, our dreams tend to represent a lot of things that did happen during the day, and other thoughts. I like to resolve those thoughts before I go to sleep, and that way I can dream about other stuff. And so I have lucid dreams every night. I always know I'm dreaming.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was hard work, but I could do it. I can do it now. It's like every night, but it's like and literally you have so much freedom, And when you wake up, sometimes you don't feel like you've rested because you've been running around like a madman.
Yeah.
But I think there's some benefits to doing that, and it starts with making sure that you've resolved what you've done during the day, and then at night time when you're dreaming, you can go anywhere, do whatever you want. It's so I don't feel that people realize just how powerful they really are. They have the power to do this, 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 and this, and it all starts here. And it's like the passion is there. This is what I want to do. This starts thinking how I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? And then the rest of me.
Yeah.
Now I've got to do it.
Yeah.
So I think heart and mind. I think those two should never fight each other. They should complement each other. And I think with every day I remind myself that, hey, it's good to be rational, good to be objective, and not to, you never want to create a permanent set of circumstances when you were temporarily emotionally compromised. So you don't want to make rash decisions when you were, it's like if I'm super hungry, for instance, I might eat a whole load of stuff that's not good for me. Okay, or if I'm arguing with someone, he said something rude about me, and I deck the guy. You see what I mean? It's like that felt good at the time until he's now pressing charges, and you see what I mean? So we always want to make sure that we have a handle on ourselves first, so we don't do anything that we might come to regret, and we don't say anything that we might come to regret. It's like arguing, for instance. If I'm arguing with you, now I'm angry, I say a few savoury words, and then I walk off and I think, now once I've calmed down, I'm like, really wish I didn't say any of that, and if I was calm, I wouldn't have said any of those things. So why couldn't I have been calm? What compromised me? And there's the lesson, what compromised me? Why did I need to hold on? Why did I need to make this point? Will it matter in a year? Will it matter in a week? Will it matter? And it's like, sometimes when you win arguments, you end up just hurting the other person, and that's not where I want to be ever. So I think always keep a good handle of yourself. Know what you want, but don't be afraid to explore the many, many different things out there. And enjoy the people around you too, and keep an open mind. And I think Frank Zappa said, mind only works like a parachute. Only works if it's open.
Yeah. Oh wow, I like that.
No, me too.
That took me a second to process.
Right, and I think with a saying like that, that can be applied to everything. And I think, I think it's good to be open. You might be a bit apprehensive to begin with, but hey, if you're doing it, give it your all. I think something that I learned was, all you give is all you get. So give it all you've got, and if you get lucky on the way, hey, you work for it. You know what I mean? I think I never count on luck. I can only count on my own ambition, my own endeavours, my own effort. And if I worked really, really hard and I got this result, okay, I get it. If it didn't work so hard and I got a bad result and I beat myself up, well, I know I didn't put in the work, So it always starts with us, and we are such powerful beings, and we don't even know that, And I think as soon as we can know that and we can take back the power, then our lives are in our hands, And it's like you know, you are fortifying your ship, your boat, and it doesn't matter where the stormy seas take us. If you can keep yourself together, you know, was it? I think a boat only sinks if water gets in.
Yeah.
So if you let nothing in, to a certain degree, you still need to let air come in. But I'd say, you know, doesn't matter how stormy the seas are. If it takes you to whatever shore it takes you on, it will, for sure, you will be fine. And I would say, keep yourself, maintain yourself, and everything else will come into focus.
Nice. So to actually go back and unpack that quote, you know, I can see the difference between that free fall and having an open parachute.
Yes.
Actually centers around regret, you know, because I think a lot of people, when they reflect back on their day, they wonder how it could have been different, as opposed to how they can deal with it now and move forward to the present.
Yes.
You know, so to the future. So, you know, how was that transition for you? You know, like, because meditation takes such different forms for anyone and everyone. So, you know, like, how did you start yourself on that journey, and how do you continue on that journey?
So I used to street fight a lot, and it was never good. Okay, I mean, of course, you start overcompensating by being overly confident, because deep down, you know, you're still scared. You got your eyes around you, and you've got such bad anxieties. It's an element of PTSD as well. You know, it's not. So it's like I wanted, and I was riddled with thoughts, which a lot of us are. I'm sure we are. But then what it is I wanted peace. I wanted peace, and the way for me to get peace was not just to turn off the music and sit in a quiet room, because I will fill that quiet room with my own thoughts. I needed peace inside here in my mind, and that's really tough to do. You know, it's like, so what you do is you start breathing. You just take really deep breaths, and as soon as you place your attention on your breath and your breathing, it aligns your body and mind. And even if you start thinking, you can almost literally observe the thoughts come and go, and then come and go, but you are still aware of your surroundings. And you know, I think with meditation, it starts there. It starts with breathing. Starts with breathing, and then you can take it to another level. You know, I know. I think with meditation, there are so many. I mean, I think there's another quote that's, you know, oh, but what do you gain from meditation? I know I gained nothing, but what I lost was irritation, anger, all the, you know, jealousy. I lost all those things. So it's, if I'm losing those things, hey, even better. You know, those are things I can afford not to have, and that will enrich the quality of my own life. So I would always say, recognize and acknowledge the benefits of the activity you're going to do, if it's meditation or whatnot, and then do it. You know, it's like, and when you start meditating, it will never be, start with a couple minutes, you know, it's like 30 seconds to a couple minutes. And I think after that, because it is tough, because we think so much all the time, and as soon as we can take the foot off the pedal and just let it be quiet, it's a serenity that we never knew that we could have access to. And it's very much something that we're all entitled to. And when you have that serenity, that peace of mind, literally that peace of mind, where, you know, if you look in my brain, nothing's happening right now. You know, it's just nice and quiet. If we can do that, it's like having an email inbox that where all the emails are in folders, so your actual inbox has nothing in it, you know, and that way you don't miss any emails, you know, any important emails or whatever, you know, you actually don't miss anything. So if I'm nice and calm now, I'm nice and meditative now, any random thoughts that's pop into my mind, okay, quickly file that away onto the next thing. I don't want to get on that train of thought which can descend, you know what I mean? And so it's, yeah, okay, that's there, into this folder, into this folder, into the, so that way our minds and our, you know, are so organized. That takes a lot of discipline, but it's well worth it. It's like you might have a cupboard at home that has all the stuff inside it, and you know there's some really good stuff in there and some not so good stuff in there, you know, stuff that you can probably throw out. You open the cupboard and you're like, oh, fine, I'll just deal with it later.
Yeah.
And you never do, and you never do. But then going through it, you're like, oh, ooh, didn't know I had this. Or it's the same thing with our minds, you know, and it's adopting that same approach. And it is all about decluttering. You know, if I can let go of this, I will. If I can get rid of this, even better, you know. Or hold on to this though, you know. And once this is nice and clear, that's where it starts. Then you can enjoy life a lot more, you know. It's like, because you're enjoying life 1 second at a time, and you're not letting it fly by, you know.
Of course.
And you know what, time does fly when you're having fun. You know, when you're so in the moment, actually sometimes, for the most part, when I'm having a great time and I'm very much in the moment, I will, what tends to happen is I experience that 1 second at a time. So at the end of the day, I mean, and I thought, wow, today went just flew by. For me, it's like, actually, no, I think time went by just as, you know, as I would have expected. And I never want to be on autopilot, you know, especially when especially if I'm in a car and I've got people in the car with me, you know, have hold of yourself first, okay, because your mental blip could have repercussions with whoever's in the car with you, yourself, and the car itself, you know what I mean? So it's always keep hold of yourself. And if you say you don't have time to meditate, that's when you need to do it the most.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. So, I actually want you to envision having a conversation with your future self now. The version of yourself that you already are, you know? What words of encouragement would you have to offer?
I would say you're on the right path. And so long as you continue to be you and continue to be kind, and to never regret helping anyone, even if that person doesn't reciprocate. That's not why you're doing it. You know, you're helping them because you want them to be okay. You know, so never regret helping anyone. Continue to be kind, and just keep improving. Don't be complacent with what you already know. There's always more to know. So I think those, you know, and cherish those around you as well. That's something that I would say. That's a conversation I'd have for sure.
Well, you know what, you definitely listen to yourself. Because you're one of the most peaceful people that I know. And
thank you.
Yeah, I really want to thank you for imparting me with your knowledge.
No, thank you
for being part of this. You know, I think a lot has been said, and there is a lot to be said about, you know, the pursuit of tomorrow. And I think, you know, you really you really embody this this idea that I know a lot of people not even so much find hard, but don't even know how to get onto that path of pursuing tomorrow. So yeah, I just really wanted to let you know how grateful I am for just
I'm so
doing your thing.
grateful to be here, you know, because I think this message is important, you know, and it's I'm a happy, cheery, positive kind of guy, and it's like if I can ever pass that on to anyone, I feel if I have the capability, then it's my responsibility. And I think I never want to leave someone worse off than when I first saw them. You know, it's like if I'm say if someone's let me stay in their room or their house for the weekend, for instance, I want to make sure that it's tidy when they get back. You know what I mean? So I think when I'm with people, I always need to make sure that they feel some element of positivity and happiness. You know, when I leave and everything, because of the nice influence I had on them, not because they couldn't wait to get rid of me. But
I know what you mean.
So I think if we can all have, and we're all capable of it, you know, we all have people that care for us, and those that we care for, and I think if we can exhibit empathy towards them as well, you know, it's like, for sure I've had, I'll have, you know, if I'm meeting up with some friends and they've got some news about, maybe they've got some news about something, I've got news about something else, you know what, I always let them talk first, because I never want, if my accomplishment is huge, for instance, I never want it to outshadow theirs. I never want it to cast a shadow on theirs, you know what I mean? I want to celebrate theirs with them, you know? And it's like, or if they got bad news, I never want to go in and dominate that with, well, I've just done this, and yeah, everyone thought I was really cool. No, you know, I always want to exhibit empathy towards someone else, and I think empathy, well, you know, you get criminals, for instance, who lack empathy, which is why they reoffend, for instance, and if we can exhibit empathy towards one another, actually, that's huge, you know. I think that's so important. I mean, so I live by three main principles, which are, you know, accept yourself unconditionally, and accept that you are going to be improving, you know. So where you are now is not the end result, not yet anyway. The second one is accept responsibility for everything you do, past, present, future. You are responsible for all of those things. And the third one is respect the free will of others. Now that's really tough. That's really tough sometimes. You know, it's like we're all adults, so, you know, if you want to do this, fine. And the only time I ever intervene is if they are in danger of hurting themselves or other people. It's like if someone's had a fair bit to drink and they get into a car, for instance. That's when I would, because they're not thinking for themselves at the point, and they are compromised. So, but no, other than that, no. People have the choice to do whatever they want. I have no say in that, you know. So respect the free will of others. So it's those three things, with the guiding principle of doing no harm, you know. And if I can live with those three elements and not doing any harm to anyone in that process, that's a fantastic starting point. And that's something that I feel is a good code to live by.
I agree. Oh, gosh, you're mind blowing. I love it. No, like,
thank you.
I think, you know, what I always enjoy about listening to you is that there's a very unique perspective that comes from someone who has and continues to master living in the future whilst being present. So, honestly, like I said, it's my pleasure to.
No, thank you so much for having me. Thank you. No, I always have a wonderful time with you.
No, spending time with you is always a gift. Always a gift. But yeah. So, is there anything you'd like to say to our viewers just to sign off?
I would say, look in the mirror and be proud. There's always something to be proud of, and anything you want to work on, that's something that if you're aware of it, then tomorrow that's your mission.
Nice. And you know, I can't top that. I thought that was beautiful. You know what, guys, I will see you in the next episode of Pursuit of Tomorrow. Once again, thank you so much for being there, Ju.
Thank you. Let me just drop one more in. Life is a collection of experiences. It's what you do with it that makes it worth living. So go out there and live it.
Definitely ended on that. All right. Bye, people.
Thank you.